Another story I wanted to talk about was, he would be a central figure on tonight's Raw, Big E, and he got the Players Tribune treatment on Monday with this really long feature that he wrote. And if you get a chance, like, it is a lengthy read, but I really recommend people check this out, as you got to see pretty much describe his whole a very an upbringing where he was very conscientious about his body image, and feeling as the thoughts of suicide and massive depression that would become a big factor in his life into university, where he was playing football, and luckily, like, finding treatment and being able to be recommended towards therapy, and being diagnosed with major depression with psychotic episodes. And he went into a lot of detail about his struggles, and where sports came into play, where coaches helped him out. And, like, I knew he had dealt with, like, injuries in his football career that derailed it, but, like, he tore his ACL right after he got his scholarship to play at the University of Iowa. So that's a year he misses, comes back and tears the other ACL, which is, I mean, we know it happened with Chris Sabin. We know that happened with Tegan Knox. I mean, it does happen, but it's like, the mental of that is just insane. And then he plays his sophomore year, and after that he tears his pec, and then he breaks his patella. And at this point, it was just like, his football career was done at this point, and he was they allowed him on his scholarship to, at least he could graduate and still go to the university. But he talked about how he gets into WWE, and then a lot of it is on the formation of the New Day and where he was in his career. He goes to FCW in 2009, and then he's called up to the main roster in 2012, while he is still Biggie Langston with AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler. But he kind of glosses over that part. Like, he did some things. He won the IC title. He had some matches with John Cena, but he had not connected in a way that makes like a top guy. And kind of felt like this was brought up in the promo tonight, like him and Xavier Woods, who he had met in developmental, they're on the main roster, and both felt they were on the bubble. Like, we might get cut. We need to do something. And it was kind of just letting go with his promo style that he was able to kind of craft, like, a personality that was inside of him that really was not showcased.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was an incredibly effective piece of writing, and affecting piece of writing. You know, you look at a guy like Big E, you wouldn't think that somebody who looked like that would have any sort of, like, self-image issues, you know, like, who doesn't want to, you know, look like, a world champion level professional wrestler, right? But clearly, I mean, perhaps body image issues affect anybody, no matter how you look, no matter how you're born, no matter, you know, like, you could be the most attractive person in the world. You could still very much suffer from those things. So I thought it was incredibly raw and honest to hear him say that. I thought it was also, like, very it was very cool to read his process of being a black person in the wrestling industry, and how when you're trying to pitch a character for yourself as a black person, you kind of have to fit into somebody else's idea of what a black person should be. And that gives you very limited options and very limited choices. And that's when we're talking about the New Day, I think why the New Day is so groundbreaking. They are a group of black men who don't just have to play black stereotypes. They were allowed, or at least they allowed themselves, once they got over enough, to be themselves, to be these, you know, anime nerds, or video game nerds, or, like, you know, like Cheerio nerds, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if that's appreciated as much as maybe it should be.
Yeah, I thought that was the most fascinating. Well, there's a lot of fascinating aspects to this piece, but in terms of kind of their contributions with the New Day, he spoke that that pro wrestling's appeal is its universality. Good versus evil, classic storytelling, a universal language, and that's very true, but the downside of universality can be oversimplicity, characters that are based on stereotypes or painted with a broad brush or put into a limited number of boxes, and you can see that downside in how the industry has treated black wrestlers over the years. They've often been cast as brutish thugs or as smiley, unthreatening types. They've often been presented as angry or unintelligent or both, and they've often been underpushed, i.e. not gotten the opportunities they've deserved. When the New Day debuted, The Rock was the only black man who had ever been WWE champion. And he goes on to state that Xavier Woods' initial idea for the New Day was to reboot the Nation of Domination, the Attitude Era group that The Rock got his start in. The Nation was a faction of black militants, and while it had a lot of cool moments, Woods, Kofi, and I are not militants. But I think that just tells you what it's been like at times to be a young black wrestler trying to make it. You pitch based on what you feel will get you on TV, and what you feel will get you on TV is probably what's gotten on TV before. And what's gotten on TV before is a very narrow definition of blackness. And I thought that was so interesting to hear, in that they realized that, like, sometimes trying to have something that is progressive and that is, for lack of a better term, groundbreaking, that's not the easiest route to just success. And a lot of it is just going to what is tried and true, and what those that are in those creative positions and that are signing off on this, like, what is in their wheelhouse, what is in their comfort level of characters, and how is a Vince McMahon, or name your creative person, going to understand three young black men that are generations apart from Vince McMahon, and how you have to appeal to that kind of a mindset. And I'm sure that even that exists today for, performers that, yes, it is, I think, a more diverse WWE, but it is still one that you do have someone like a Paul Levesque, who is going to have, his own experiences, and what his understanding is going to be very different from his talent. But it does seem that there is more of a receptiveness now to different ideas, different presentations, and even the comfort level in a Big E that can talk about this publicly, that maybe you would be more gun shy in another era of even speaking up about this if you're still under contract with this company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's because of the precedent that acts like the New Day have set. Now they've proven that you could be successful, and greatly successful, and commercially successful by, not necessarily playing like a stereotype that's associated with your skin color. But I mean, it does give you a glimpse into, like, just even, I think, the predicament that talents themselves, that the talents find themselves in even, like, creating characters. How do I fit myself into a box is a question that I'm sure everybody has to ask at some point.
It's a great piece. So take the time to read it, and it did set the table for tonight's angle, because I think this if you read this, I think it just added more to this whole New Day segment tonight and the relationship between these three.
If you like this video, consider joining our Patreon, the Post Wrestling Cafe. Multiple bonus podcasts every week, ad-free shows, and access to our full archive. Otherwise, a like and subscribe is much appreciated. Thank you for watching.